I'm Case Spivey, and today I wanted to talk to you about trolls. So nothing makes me sadder than when a poet who you've really admired is kind of making it big, and then at some point their social media feeds turn into defensive barrier walls. And I've seen this happen with a whole bunch of different poets, so this isn't calling out someone in particular. I'm sure you've seen this with many different poets, especially women, where as they start to make it big and they're getting a lot of feedback and lashing out against them, they start to become really defensive, and they do it in a way that suddenly everything on their social media is kind of a call out or a defensive statement. And I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about that. Obviously, I'm not one of the biggest poets on the internet or anything like that, but I feel like there's a way to handle trolls really well and a way to kind of handle them poorly, and I feel like you see them handled poorly quite a lot. And that's when they get addressed and people are trying to defend the work that they're doing by sort of feeding into the madness. I've been trolled a couple of times over my poetry, and I have to tell you, in every single one of these accounts, they would write something like, "This is shit," or "This is the worst poem," or something like that, something to try to be a little bit inflammatory. Sometimes they would reblog a poem and then write, "This is shit," or something like that. And in every one of those cases, it's infuriating. You're like, well, F you, your work is shit. But every one of those, I went to their Tumblr page or whatever, because obviously everything is all linked together. And what I found was that all of the ones who trolled me, at least, were poets as well, and wrote really bad poetry, like just terrible, just ridiculous. And it made me stop and think. What I realized this person was doing when they did this was they had thought that my poetry was well liked enough, good enough, well received enough, that I had a big enough platform that if they said something negative to me and I responded to them, I would be introducing their platform to all of my followers. That because suddenly we were having a little war between us, some of my followers would go check them out and possibly like their work. And I quickly realized that this is what they were trying to do, and the best thing you can do in that situation is ignore them, is not give them access to your followers and to your platform, and to not let them leech off of you by trying to be negative. I've never been trolled by somebody whose work was better than mine, because nobody whose work is good is going to take time away from making more good work to go and troll someone that they actually don't like. It's not going to happen. Anytime a troll is coming after you, it's because they think you're really good. I'm not saying take it as a compliment, I'm saying it isn't worth your time. And it's definitely not worth the time of your followers for you to be spending time that you would normally have used to talk about things that you like and talk about your own work and what you're working on and all the things that your followers came there to see, and the really inspirational messages that you used to post and the support you used to give to other writers. If you take away from that time to continuously address these people who are trying to make you respond to them by saying something negative in hopes of leeching off your following, it's just not worth your time. And we do live in an age where I think a lot of people feel that it is necessary to respond to things when they're happening, to respond to all the criticism, all the accolades, and you just don't have to. You can ignore 99% of what's going on and just really focus on your work. It's great when someone says something nice or something instructive or helpful that you acknowledge that and you say thanks, but you don't have to. I'm giving you permission right now to basically step back from social media, to use it for what you used to use it for fun and for growing your platform and for finding people who are interested in your work, and to not deal with all the extra stuff, not deal with the troll. You don't have to deal with them. You don't have to acknowledge a single one of them. Nobody else is going to know that you're getting trolled if you never acknowledge it. And it might sting a little bit, but trolls do attract other trolls. If you are constantly talking to people who are negative, you're going to encourage other people who are negative to come in and try and also be negative, to defend the other troll even. But if it never happens, if trolls are never seeing any kind of acknowledgement of other trolls, there's sort of, it's like the same thing if you have a bad experience somewhere but you go to review them on Yelp and they have 5-star glowing reviews, hundreds of them across the board. You stop and think and you're like, wait a minute, was it just me? Am I the one who was out of line here? It's the same thing with trolling. If 100% of what you put forth on your platform is positive and glowing people are going to be the ones who are responding to you because they're feeding off that energy. Acknowledging the trolls and giving them a voice where they really don't need to have one isn't really helpful. And again, they're doing it because they aren't good at what you do. And that is 100% true. Just keep that in mind. Nobody who is a better writer than you, who's a better artist than you, better at anything than you, is going to be sitting on the internet trolling you. It isn't happening. Anonymous, not. They're worse at this than you are. And you can just acknowledge that and internalize that and move past it. Delete their comments. Block them. You don't have to ever acknowledge any of that publicly. It's okay to block people if you need to. It's okay to erase comments when they're on your videos. It's your platform. You get to put forth the image that you want. And that's what I wanted to say about that. I feel really bad for a lot of, especially women out there, who get a lot of criticism. You don't deserve it. You also get to control what the rest of the world perceives your platform as being. And you get to be the kind of place that you want to be. And I feel as though many contemporary poets could benefit from not internalizing the conflict surrounding their work so much as continuing to better their work. So yeah, that's all I want to talk about. If you've had any experiences like that or anything to add, go ahead and leave a comment down below. I will be checking those out, and happy writing, everybody. See you again soon. Bye.